Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we have an Ezreal AP mage build in the mid lane that I've been working on for a long time. So this one is a little bit different. I've done AP Ezreal mid before in the past, but that one involved building Manamune as a first item and then going into AP. This one's a little bit different. This one is full on one shot. It's not about poking, it's about one shotting. You have first strike, you have, Infinity Orb items that basically just let you one shot people. And I have tried the Manamune builds, I have tried Riftmaker builds, but I really think the best way to play AP Ezreal is just to straight up go for one shots. And the DPS doesn't matter, it's not so important. Anyway, you're the mid laner and you're basically playing a mage, just that you're Ezreal, right? So you guys will see later in the gameplay the one shots and how it kind of works. We'll explain more then. But now let's get into the build first. So the first item you're gonna get is of course Boots of Mana. As a mage build, you want AP, you want Magic Pen, and mana regeneration. Now mana regeneration on these boots are actually very important because you don't have mana immune, and you're gonna really run out of mana really quickly without the mana boots. So the first item you're gonna get is actually Lich Bane. Now Lich Bane, it gives you a little bit of AP, a little bit of ability haste, of course the magic pen, a little bit of movement speed, but the spell blade is what's really important. So when you use an ability, your next attack will deal bonus magic damage scaling off of your AD and AP. So this is very important because much like how Triforce works in the AD build, this is basically going to increase the power of your Q. And if you don't use Q, you can also W auto, and that auto is going to get increased damage. Essentially, Lich Bane is the best core item on Ezreal for his AP build, just because it increases his damage, by a ton, especially his Q, and it makes your Q spammable, even though Q is an AD spell and you're building AP. So next up, I like to go for the Infinity Orb. Now, Infinity Orb obviously gives you flat Magic Pen, gives you AP and percent Magic Pen as well. And of course, when your opponents are below 35% health, you will automatically crit on them. And obviously, this kind of ties into Ezreal kind of one-shotting people, especially in the early game. This is going to be useful for one-shotting people. In the late game, this becomes a lot less useful, just simply due to the fact you do so much damage. You can one-shot them even without the crit from Infinity Orb, but it's just going to help you snowball the game. Then obviously, very common third item for mages is going to be Death Cat for a ton of AP, as well as increasing your AP by a percentage amount. And then we're actually going to go for Awakened Soul Stealer. Now Soul Stealer of course gives you flat Magic Pen again, ability haste, health, AP, and of course percent Magic Pen, same as the Infinity Orb. And then you're also going to get the Wandering Soul passive, which is basically whenever you get a kill or an assist on an enemy, you get ability cooldowns reduced by 25%, and you steal 10% of their base movement speed, as well as 50% of their ability haste until they respawn. So this, in the late game, is generally going to be very useful, because obviously refreshing cooldowns is going to be good, and of course, stealing their movement speed and ability haste is very useful as well, because by this time in the game, when you're at like 4 items, the death timers are going to be long, and most like tanks or mages will have built ability haste. Of course, ADCs not really, but most of the other champions will have some kind of ability haste. So generally, you are going to benefit from that. And last item, I'm actually going to go for Crown. Now, Crown, of course, is just a really good safety tool. You of course get that shield that reduces the damage for 1 second, as well as of course breaking, not breaking, but blocking the next hostile ability. And of course, you also get a decent stat line. Mana, ability haste, AP. It's just all good. So for the runes, with the burst playstyle, you want to go for First Strike. Now, First Strike obviously is a mid to late game rune where you basically deal extra true damage as well as get gold. Obviously, in the early game, not very useful, but in the late game, really helpful in your one-shot combos. And then, of course, we don't care about DPS, we are all about one-shot. So we're going to go for Sudden Impact so that when you dash in, you're going to deal the Sudden Impact damage. You're going to go for Empowered Attack just because it's really just the best option in this slot. I mean, Cheap Shot and Mark of the Week kind of suck, so we're just going to go for Empowered Attack. And Eyeball Collector here is basically the most consistent option because Zombie Ward, you can't proc that easily in solo queue especially, and of course and of course the other option, the Ingenious Hunter, not useful for the items that we have. And then for the second rune, we want to go for Transcendence. Obviously, getting your cooldowns back more quickly is going to be very important, and that's what Transcendence is really for. For the spells, you want to go for Flash, and then for your secondary spell, you really have options of a lot of spells. You can go for not Clarity. You can go for Barrier for more defensive, of a defensive spell. Exhaust, of course, against assassins and people who want to one-shot you, very useful. Cleanse, useful against CC, and even Ignite, of course, as the mid laner. Ignite is very useful for getting kills in lane, especially a very aggressive option that I don't normally go for, but certainly is very viable. But with all that said, now let's take a look at the Ezreal mid gameplay. Alright, so now let's take a look at the gameplay itself. Now I think this is a very, very lovely gameplay of Ezreal mid because it shows you a lot of Ezreal mid's strengths. It also shows you a lot of Ezreal mid's weaknesses, and by Ezreal mid I mean Ezreal AP, I mean Ezreal mage, things like that. Of course you could play mid and build AD as well, but it's a completely different kind of play style. So right off the bat, at the start of the game, I like to get a ward onto the enemy raptors if I can, and this also, of course, allows me to kind of track the enemy jungler and kind of know, where they are. So here we have, I basically am trying to just poke, the Diana in lane. Of course, first strike, as I said, it's not going to be very, very handy in the laning phase. It's mid to late game where it kind of really shines. Also, by the way, guys, we got kind of an amazing team comp of 4 ADCs and 1 Pantheon, so that's just amazing. Of course, it's kind of a disaster team comp because it's just very easy to just one-shot with Diana and Master Yi, but of course we'll have to see how the game goes. So Ezreal mid plays like a typical mage in a sense that he's not going for DPS, he's going for one-shot combos. Your main combo is WEQ, where basically you hit your W on someone, you E in to proc the W, and then you Q to, get extra damage. Of course, you can take away the E as well, so if you want to just poke, you can WQ, and WQ does more than half health of a squishy when you have like 3 items, things like that. So here you can see that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Me and Diana are kind of trading back and forth here, and it's about an even trade. So that's basically the main game plan. Now, of course, another way you could do it is WE auto Q, which is gonna basically it's basically gonna proc your spellblade guaranteed with your auto in case you miss your Q. There is also something like that. Of course, you can include your ult as well. You can ult at the beginning, or you can W ult as well if you don't want to E in. That's a very common thing. And also another thing is that with Ezreal AP, his ult has insanely good AP scalings, so you want to basically launch your ult off of cooldown just for poke, and this will chunk people like half of their health, a third of their health when you get a couple of items. But of course, I keep saying when you have a few items because Ezreal, when you build him as a mage, he is a mage, right? So when you have like 0 items, you're not going to do very much. When you're at 1 item, you're not going to do very much. You kind of really got to get to 2 items to actually kind of really be useful, right? So you basically need 2 to 3 items to start actually becoming useful. So in the earlier stages of the game, you are kind of useless, but this is kind of the deal with most mages. Of course, like my lane opponent Diana is a little bit different. She can kind of just go in on you and still kind of kill you. But imagine like a Syndra, right? Syndra kind of needs like 2 to 3 items to kind of be useful as well. Of course, unless you chunk someone out and then you all in them, you can get a kill. Of course, with Ezreal it's the same, right? If you manage to poke someone down to half health and then you all in them, you're gonna kill them anyway, right? So here we get our Sheen as well as, of course, our mana boots. Of course, Sheen is a very useful item in lane because obviously this is gonna help you out a ton with your poke. So here, we were on our way to help Pantheon against Master Yi, but essentially we can't really do that because Pantheon is already dead. So in this match, you will also realize I go for a ton, and I mean a ton, of cross-map ultis. As I said, you want to do that to kind of help out your team with damage. You also want to do that just to proc your first strike. Just hitting your ulti with first strike is going to give you a good amount of gold majority of the time. So you do want to, of course, use your ulti when you can. And of course, as I said, you should kind of launch your ulti whenever it's off cooldown. I don't literally mean you launch it every time it's off cooldown. It's like whenever it's off cooldown, you have an opportunity, and you're thinking whether or not to do it. You probably want to do it more often than not. So here you can see Diana's going in for a trade. I just eat out of the way, and of course I just take the fruit. This is another reason why Ezreal mid is kind of good, because against assassins you do have an inbuilt escape tool on your E as long as you have not used it aggressively, which is also why whenever you E in for an aggressive trade, there is a window where your opponent can punish you, so you always want to be careful of that. And if you're playing that kind of with the aggressive E, which you should be doing quite a bit of, you always want to, of course, have your flash ready or be at a safe position. You don't want to E right next to their tower and then you're stuck without an escape. So you'll see that one of the kind of weaknesses of Ezreal, of course, is you gotta land your spells, right? So you can see that most of my cross-map ultis for now have not really been landing, and really it's a art when it comes to landing cross-map ultis. And here you can see I missed both my W and Q on Caitlyn, although we do trade flash for flash, so I guess it's kind of okay. But really kind of the issue is that with the cross map ultis, you really have to kind of predict where they are, because you have to count in the fact that your ulti has to travel from wherever you are to wherever you want to hit the enemy. So you kind of have to guess whether they're going to stay still on the spot, they're going to walk forward to chase, or they're going to run backward to escape, like from your team, right? So this requires not just game knowledge, but also kind of a little bit of prediction of the situation. And sometimes you normally don't ever want to launch it directly at where they are. You normally want to launch it a little bit backwards or forwards of where they are. And that is basically what I am trying to do majority of the time, but it's not always successful. Right, so here the enemy team has done the dragon, and they're coming in as a like 3-man stack to kind of come to the herald. Thankfully, we are able to dispatch the set. We're going for the herald. Pantheon gets the smite on the herald before they arrive, and here I'm in a horrible position, so I'm gonna hop the wall, and you can see already that at like 0 items, you can see that I am already bursting Master Yi to quite a large extent, and he actually panic meditates and attempts to of course avoid death. Of course, with all that burst down, I can no longer DPS him, right? So Ezreal has the same weaknesses of a mage as well, which is when you use the WEQ, you run out of spells, and essentially you can't really do anything about it anymore because you don't actually have any spells to use. So of course your autos still do a little bit of damage, but it's not going to do a ton of damage because you again are building AP instead of AD. So that's of course a major weakness of Ezreal, but of course the major strength is that he is able to basically burst and one-shot people, of course with his combos. So here at this point we're at 0, 0, and 0. The game is already like 3:8 kills, and we have 0 KP, but also at the same time we've died 0 times. So this is fine, because of course ideally you do want to help out your team here and there, but I'm facing 2 obstacles. Of course, number 1, as I said, you kind of need items. Here I'm trying to get the snipe onto Milio and or Caitlyn, but you can see here, right, that I thought they're going to stay under tower and recall. But at the time I launched my ult, Master Yi was not in vision, right? So I was thinking they're going to stay there and recall, but after my ult was already traveling, Master Yi comes up and they walk forward to help out their Master Yi. So again, I end up just completely whiffing my ult, which is kind of not very surprising. Here my team gets cleaned up, and I'm trying to see if I can clean up the Milio. So here it's a very awkward situation, right? I face check the bush, I see Diana. Diana is not even interested. Milio ends up getting caught by my W, and I auto him for the kill, but Diana there, I honestly think she could have just one-shot me, right? She had Ignite and ult, so I think that if she was actually paying attention, I would just got one-shot in that bush there instead of me one-shotting the... I mean, not one-shotting, but me cleaning up the 1 HP Milio. But back to my original point, I have 2 obstacles, right, of why I can't really help my team. Number one obstacle is that I kind of need at least 2 items to kind of be useful, right? Obstacle number 2 is that I'm against a Diana. So Diana is an assassin who can one-shot me. Now, granted, I can try to one-shot her as well, but Diana can one-shot me way faster than I can one-shot her, right? Think about Ezreal using his WEQ versus Diana just using her QEW and ulti, things like that, right? So I can't one-shot her as fast as she can one-shot me. As you guys can see here, that's exactly what she's doing. I have to flash out of her ult. I launch my ult back, she gets really low, and I'm thinking I can probably get a kill here, but I get tagged by her Q, and I realize that I'm probably in a bit of trouble. For some reason, I lose my mind and manually aim my W onto the tower, trying to get some tower damage. I'm not sure what I was really thinking here. I clearly wasn't really, and Diana just turns around and one-shots me with the help of her Infinity Orb. Definitely deserved to die there. Pantheon does, however, clean up the Diana and pick up the shutdown. So this leads me, of course, to obstacle number 2 of helping my team, which is that Diana can one-shot me and I can't really one-shot her. So the moment she roams into the jungle, I cannot follow her. And why can't I follow her? Well, basically it's because she could just be baiting me, walking into the jungle where I don't have vision, hiding in a bush, and the moment I follow her, she's gonna one-shot me instantly from the bush, right? Remember, whenever there are 2 sort of assassins slash burst mages, whoever's in the bush has an advantage because they have the element of surprise and they will be the first one to attack the other, so they should normally be able to kill the other one. So that's kind of the obstacle that I face. So I can never follow Diana's roam. So whenever Diana is roaming, you can see that that has happened a number of times already in this game. All I'm doing is I'm pinging enemy missing, and I'm pinging danger, danger, danger towards the direction that she's going, and I'm hoping that my team plays it safe. Now, for now, they have not really been, right? Which is kind of why my MF and my Senna has been dying on repeat whenever Diana roams, right? So, is it my fault? In a way it is, because I'm letting the mid laner roam for free, but there's not really very much I can do because I cannot really contest the wave and I don't really have priority because, again, if I step up to the wave, I could just get one shot by the enemy Diana, and that is obviously not very ideal. So, for now, there's not too much I can do. However, you will see that the first obstacle has already been overcome, which is now I have 2 items and my boots, same as Diana actually, and we actually have the same 2 items just built in the opposite order. And you will notice that even though I only have 1 kill, me and Diana are only like 300 gold apart, right? Which is basically 1 kill's worth of gold apart, even though she has 3 kills and 1 assist more than me. So obviously in the time she's been roaming, I've been farming really well. Also, of course, I've gotten the plating gold from the Herald drop. So here you can see I'm pinging enemy missing again. I don't know where Diana is. I think that she's going to the top lane, and actually there she is, just appearing in the top lane. But you can see that I basically just do what I can, which is just to ping missing, and I'm not gonna follow her roam. Here Pantheon actually is able to clean her up, and now there's a fight going on with Pantheon, Set, and MF. I'm making my way there because I think I can help out. Set actually ults Pantheon back and allows MF to basically kill him. I mean, I don't know about that one. I think he was gonna die regardless, so he probably shouldn't have wasted his ult and his flash, but sometimes people are desperately trying to survive when they really just can't. So here, back to farming the mid lane. You will see that, of course, the crit also works on the minions. So here you can see the one-shot on Master Yi. Here I hit my combo, and then I ulti and basically just finish him off with another auto because he was in the meditate when the ulti hit. And this is really the first instance of really showing off the so-called one-shot where he was a little bit off screen, but there I hit the WEQ and into the ulti and auto to basically almost kind of one-shot him. You will see me actually one-shotting people later on in the game. Obviously, that's the whole point of Ezreal mid. Something I haven't really discussed is why pick Ezreal mid over a mage? Well, the answer is generally a mage is better. Except that I don't really play mages, and I'm way better at Ezreal than mages, although looking at this gameplay, a little bit arguable considering how many skill shots I've been missing in this game. So here you can see I'm hitting a little bit of poke. You can see that we basically have half the set already. We are 3 ADCs focusing 1 set, and he just goes down. You can see that just look at this, right? That's WQ ult, and Caitlyn's nearly one shot, right? If I had my E there, I think Caitlyn is just one shot there. So if I W EQ ult, I think she just dies instantly. And at this point, with 2 items only, I already am kind of in a position where I can almost one shot the Caitlyn. Of course, albeit having to pop all of my spells. Speaking of one shot, Master Yi here gets caught out on his own blue buff by all of us, and he gets one shot by my entire team. And now out of nowhere, I'm now 4-1 with more gold than the Diana now, who's now 6-4. Me and Diana both are putting in a shift for our team. Of course, my bot lane is kind of losing out against their bot lane, but of course Pantheon is really far ahead of Master Yi, and Vayne is also really far ahead of Set. So this allows us to basically go for the Baron with Master Yi kind of caught out, and we get a 13-minute Baron. Not really the strongest Baron since it's still really early in the game, but this should allow us to, of course, get some towers or so. So here once again I'm trying the cross map ulti, but once again instead of the enemy team staying where they are, they actually end up chasing my team down. So here with me and MF not in the fight, this is actually a pretty bad fight because the enemy team actually outnumber our team, and we have Baron, so we don't really want to fight, we want to push. So here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually hide in the bushes and attempt to kind of sneak up and one-shot somebody, but the thing is that the whole enemy team is kind of retreated already. So here once again I believe I've not been spotted yet, unless there's vision in the bushes that I don't know about. But here, as far as I know, I'm completely hidden, so I'm just hiding in this bush. I get hit by I'm not sure what, but I'm able to one-shot the melee anyway with 2 auto attacks. I miss my W and my Q again. But yeah, we are able to get the one shot on him. My spells are on cooldown, so I'm not gonna stay in the fight. However, my MF basically tries to 1v2, and I'm trying to salvage the situation by ulting the Set. Set lives on 1 HP, so unfortunately no kill for me there, but I do get 48 first strike goal, which is better than nothing. So here I'm really close to death cap. I've already gotten both my components, so I just want to take a little bit of fruit, heal up, and go and find a little bit more gold to complete my death cap. Now here I'm actually checking the enemy jungle. Red buff is actually up. Master Yi is dead. So here I'm actually starting up the red buff. I'm pulling it into the bush so it's hidden, and then I ward over the wall to ensure that I'm not, there's no one that's sneaking up on me or one-shot me, because I'm pretty sure they, if they pan their camera, they would see the red buff walk into the bush, because they did have vision there from the little fairy thing there. So anyways, that gives me enough for death cap. I pick up my death cap. Now on 3 item power spike. At this point, with the 3 items and death cap as well, I should be able to easily just one-shot any squishy target. Basically anyone on their team aside from Set. Maybe Master Yi might be a bit difficult because he would meditate when you try to one-shot him, but anybody else I should be able to easily one-shot at this point in time. So here I'm actually looking for Caitlyn or Milio, but Caitlyn kind of runs back to safety. I was trying to hit Caitlyn with the W here, but Set kind of blocks for her, and I don't want to jump in on Set, so I'm just going to launch my Q from over the wall, and you will see that actually gives me like 54 first strike gold and chunks half of, like almost half of Set's health. So you can kind of see how strong the AP build really is, and the AP build of course relies a lot on hitting your W and proccing your W, because it's where most of your AP damage goes, mainly your W and your ult. So something I haven't actually covered yet that you might be wondering is, if that's the case, then what's the maxing order of AP Ezreal, right? So of course, not really of course, but you do want to max Q first, because Q is still your bread and butter ability. It's basically like almost like your auto attack on Ezreal. So what you really want with that is, you of course want to max your Q first for lower cooldown and higher base damage. So the debate really comes on whether do you max your E second or do you max your W second, because W of course is your main point of damage for AP Ezreal, but E, by maxing it, you actually get a lot lower cooldowns and you also get a lot higher base damages. So I've been debating about this myself. I tried both the W max and the E max. I actually personally prefer the E max. So although you do lose out on quite a bit of damage by maxing your W last, I think that the extra mobility you get from maxing your E and also the extra damage you get from maxing your E is worth it. So personally, I still go the normal maxing order of Q, E, then W. But if you do Q, W, then E, that also works as well. But just that you are a lot less safe because you have a lot less mobility. Here a fight breaks out. I am able to get my ult. I don't really think I hit anybody with it, but we pick up a double already. And here Pantheon one-shots the Milio. Everybody's dead except Caitlyn. We just flash forward for the Q and hit Caitlyn. We actually pick up a triple kill here. And here is another free Baron. So in the end, it's a 2 for 5 trade. And this will basically give us our second Baron of the game. This time it's a 17-minute plus Baron. And this Baron is going to be a lot stronger. So we do want to use this Baron to pick up hopefully at least one of the remaining 2 side lane inhibitors, if not just 2 inhibitors straight up. So here, we're just going to quickly grab a reset. We've already gotten Stasis at this point. Stasis, of course, is very helpful, in particular against Master Yi and against Diana, just to buy a little bit of time while Master Yi is going in on us, or if Diana tries to ult us, or basically just all in us, we of course do want to go for that. Now it appears that Diana is going for the exact same build as me, because now I have a Prophet's Pendant and so does she, so I can only assume she's building Awakened Soul Stealer as well, which is pretty funny because essentially Ezreal has the exact same AP build as Diana, or at least this Diana that we're fighting. Of course Diana can also build things like Ludens and things like that. But here Elder Dragon is coming up in 12 seconds. So what I'm trying to do here is, I know I have a lot of damage. I'm trying to look for a pick, right? So I saw Milio over there. Unfortunately, once again, I missed my W. I'm trying to go in for the one-shot anyway. You can see the EQ auto does a ton of damage. If I hit this ult, he might actually die. But he does get chunked out anyway, so he's kind of out of the fight. Set is on the wrong side of the map, and the enemy bot lane is apparently walking away. So Diana's on vision, and this basically tells me that highly likely the enemy team is not contesting, and they're not. So we actually get Elder and Baron. So here I have a new game plan, right? With Elder and Baron, it's viable to just run down mid and end the game, right? So here I was thinking that my team should just run down mid and end the game, but my team gets completely baited by the Set, in my opinion, because I don't think we actually need to push the top lane. I think that probably just running down mid and trying to end the game is probably a viable strategy, right? Because the enemy team, a lot of times, they'll be forced to fight you because you're trying to end the game, and they'll all die to Elder, and then we'll just win the game. But instead what happens here is now my team is pushing top lane, myself and Pantheon are pushing in mid lane, and it's also kind of fine, right? Because, you know, getting inhibs or towers and top lanes is still fine. You can see the complete one-shot on Melee, the WE instantly one-shots him and I go legendary. I try to hit an ult onto anybody, but it kind of just doesn't hit. So here we get the top lane inhibitor, and this leaves only one inhibitor or one tower even on the enemy team left. So here we're going for that tower because we do have a wave. Now, here you can see, I'm not sure how this trap proc, by the way. I swear I did not step in that trap, even watching this replay like twice. It didn't look to me like I stepped in that trap, but I kind of get poked out a little bit. And here with the last of our minion waves, we're able to actually pick up the triple inhib. And honestly, you guys know how it is. When you get triple inhib, the game is basically won because the enemy team has a hard time defending objectives. They have because of the insane pressure onto them. So here, I'm really greedy. I'm looking for a one-shot on somebody, some squishy target. But here I get ulted by Caitlyn. And here, I was trying to actually just one-shot Diana because I still had Elder, right? So with my W on her, I think I would be able to one-shot her. But the only issue is that she one-shots me faster than I can one-shot her, which is basically back to problem number 2, right? That I was kind of pointing out just now, which is that now we both have the damage to one-shot each other, but the issue is that she can get off her damage faster than I can. So what I needed to do there is I needed to actually pop the stasis and then either run away afterwards or then try to one-shot her after I come out of the stasis. I cannot survive, of course, her trying to one-shot me, so that's not going to work out in any way, shape, or form. So definitely a misplay by me there, allowing Diana to get the shutdown onto me. And you can see that at this point, myself and Diana have basically identical builds. She does have a Haunting Guise as her last item, so I'm not quite sure what she's building as last item. Might be the anti-shielding item, might be... I don't think it's going to be Leandry's, because we are not a tanky team, but yeah, could be the anti-shield item, the Ocean's Trident, but yeah, we'll have to kind of see. Anyways, here Baron is now up. So I'm seeing Masi walking in here, so I'm thinking maybe I can one-shot Masi. I try to go to a position where I can. He unfortunately walks back, so I kind of predicted him to walk forward there, but he sees my team and actually walks back, which causes me to miss my W prediction, and as a result, I only hit my EQ, and then I miss my ult as well. So really, I really just need 3 components out of 4 to hit. So between my Q, W, E, and ult, I just need 3 of them to hit, and I'll one-shot anybody, right? So I can miss my W, but I hit my E, Q, and ult, I will still kill. I can miss my Q, I hit my W, E, ult, I'll still kill. Essentially, I just need to hit 3 components out of my kit to kill someone, basically. But unfortunately, I just missed 2 of them, multiple times. So not the best of aims, but we are still one-shotting people. So the issue here at this point is that although we have gotten Baron, let's look at that chunk, by the way, half health both Diana as well as Caitlyn, and give me 186 gold. So here the issue is that we have triple inhib, we have Baron, and this should be high time to end the game. But the issue is you can see Vayne and MF just died, and look at that one shot on Caitlyn, by the way. That's the WEQ combo. One shots Caitlyn from 100 to 0 and gets me the shutdown. But you can see that basically the problem here is the Caitlyn Milio, right? Because Caitlyn has the longest range in the game. Milio increases her range by a percentage. So even though we have a team of 4 ADCs, nobody has the range to get anywhere close to her, and she can DPS us for free because of the Milio. So now we have a major issue, which is simply the fact that Caitlyn and Milio can DPS us when we cannot even reach them. So this is very, very dangerous for like any future fight, right? But thankfully, it appears that there won't really be a future fight, because with the Baron, you can see the minions are just running into the base. Diana and Caitlyn are dead, and Set and Milio cannot really defend. I ult to help the situation, and you can see the Winions are just winning the game for us. Master Yi doesn't really care, and we should have just win the game from the Baron minions, which does happen. As you guys can see, these two people have no wave clear, and we end up with the dub. So, I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.